So I'm gonna invite up our Arkansas newspaper Midwest editor Matt Messner, who's gonna be helping discuss the installations and designs. And so our first guest is Yugon Kim and Tomomi Itakura from IKD. They're a Boston-based firm who you may recognize from their conversation plinth out front of the library. Oh yeah, so we got some, a picture over here. And so I guess I'm going to let Matt start off with some hard-hitting design questions.
Yeah, jump right in. I think it's important that people understand that this project is part of a large, much more involved, larger project for your practice.
Yes.
That has to do with materials, which has to do with wood in specific. Could you talk a little bit about where this fits in with what you're doing and how you're taking this opportunity, which involves collaborations with local bodies and local a bunch of local fabricators and makers. Can you talk about how this fits into this your larger project?
I think there's a lot of questions in that question.
Yes, there's a lot of questions in that question.
I think this project will be transformational for our firm. I mean, we've been looking at timber, cross-laminating timber, high-tech timber for a really long time. And so to be able to realize this project is really a culmination of years and years of research. We were fortunate enough to win a grant from the U.S. Forest Service, and we really felt a lot of stars aligned to allow us to do that. We were the only architecture firm, I think, to win that grant. Usually it goes to institutions or lumber companies, but I think they saw the value in the project that we're doing. And so this will be a 2-year project that we will further the material invention that we've explored in this project, which will be hardwood cross-laminated timber, the first ever material investigation of this type of product here in the United States. I think in the larger picture, it really allows us to explore how much design can impact beyond just maybe the aesthetics or even community growth. What we're interested in is how can design impact a larger whole? And so part of this also is this idea of trying to bring industry here to Columbus, to Indiana, to the Midwest. I think there will be an incredible amount of satisfaction to perhaps say that this was the catalyst to start a conversation for new industry to be here, so that mills here in Indiana can survive. People can put food on the table, and so if we can say design allowed for something like that, we did something right today.
And we've been talking about how J. Irwin Miller, through his success in industry, was able to bring design to Columbus. And now we want to reciprocate and bring industry through design.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's right.
Right.
Design brings industry.
Right. Could you, I guess to get everybody who's live streaming, there's thousands of people out there watching us right now. Great. Could you talk about the cross-laminated timber? I mean, it's not a typical material yet. Even understanding exactly what it is.
Cross-laminated timber. It's a fairly new. It's an engineered. It's a very high-tech engineered wood that basically takes wood, which is strong in one direction typically, but when you take it and laminate it by alternate the grain as you go up, it becomes strong in all directions. And so then this material, that starts out as one piece, when assembled in this way, can become as large as 10 feet wide by 40 feet tall. A solid panel of structural wood that is so strong that it can actually compete with steel and concrete. Currently it's only made out of softwoods in the United States, and because it is a relatively new material in the United States, it's been used in Europe more, and so we know that it works. There's proof that it works. But in the United States, it's still relatively new enough that there are only 2 factories in the United States that actually produce this. And so our proposal is about CLT, but using hardwood instead of softwood, or hardwood in addition to softwood. So trying hybrid methods, or all hardwood. So it's a material, as a material it exists, but by doing this hardwood version, we're hoping that there are other benefits to another way of doing it.
Could you talk, I mean, so everyone's gonna, I know people are already climbing all over it, and I think today we're gonna see.
We're going to see if the engineering was done right.
Yeah, right, I think we're gonna see everybody's gonna want to touch it. I think it's something that you want to touch because it's wood and it has that quality.
I think that's part of, I mean, even with the grant, it's a very technical sort of material research thing that we, wanted to propose, but what I think set us apart a little bit was the fact that we have this demonstration project as a component of the proposal, where we want people to be able to feel it and touch it and see it and feel how solid it is and how massive it is, and that it's a way to sort of bring it and share it with the public and improve its viability, I think.
Would you, what are some of the qualities, whether it be structural or architectural or spatial, that you were that really made it specific to this material that you got to?
To this material or this region?
To this region.
When we were fortunate to be invited to compete for this site, we did some research and we realized that the largest cash crop in Indiana is hardwood. And that was surprising to us. And what was even more surprising is that over 50% of every log that's harvested goes to low quality materials, like pallets and cans. And so, what we thought would be kind of amazing thing to do was try to consider new applications for this low value material, because if 50% of a crop goes to a low value product, the kind of marketability of those, the way that a industry can survive is very limited. So what we did is we took this low value, more than 50% of the tree, and we tried to upcycle it. And Tomomi and I always think of it as almost alchemy, and this idea of taking this thing very weak and then putting it together, and so making something very strong. So it's a really regional material, and America was originally colonized because there was an abundance of timber, and our cities were built with timber. And so really what we think with this new kind of use of high-tech CLT is that kind of our urban cores can be once again built with timber, as it was in the past.
And something specific with this project and this particular material that we were developing for this, for the conversation plinth, is using mixed species of hardwoods and encouraging sort of a diverse pool to draw from in order to make the impact even sort of more widespread.
Yeah.
So, just sort of one more sort of wrap-up question. So you bring in this sort of high technology. There's a knowledge capital already here about cutting wood.
Of course.
But what was that? Was there a lot to make all the manufacturers take that leap with? I mean, were they excited? Were they skeptical?
They were skeptical.
Yeah.
Because it was surprising to us the difference between softwood culture and hardwood culture. I mean, they use a similar material, but they speak a completely different language.
I mean, hardwood is usually a finished material. Softwood is what's usually used now to build buildings. So they're kind of there's a little bit of a divide there.
Yeah.
And so, what Yugon really was able to build a lot of great partnerships with people and brought both sides together, which is a kind of a remarkable thing. And I can tell you that over the last couple of days, we've had some of our partners come to these events, and they're all very happy. And we're through all the struggles, even though there were challenges along the way, to be at a point where we feel like everybody's on board feels amazing.
Awesome.
So I think just as a quick way of talking about the differences is that softwood is usually dimensional and uniform, whereas hardwood is typically cut at random lengths and widths. It's just a way of how they extract material. And so because we were working with one of the certified factories in Montana for SELT, we basically had to apply this kind of softwood approach to hardwood. But what made it even more difficult is that we were using grade 3 common, which is usually green and and even in kind of rough shape. And we had to apply grade 1 application to the hardwood, then process it so that it was dimensional lumber, and then ship it to Montana, 2,000 miles away, get it fabricated and brought back for fabrication. So it was big
Even
learning
the
curve.
hardwood is harder. I think we were stressing out their saws a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, it's a different material. So, there were unexpected things that came up.
Well, we have it now.
Yeah.
So we're good. Thank you both so much. I think we all have like a better, we'll learn something. The education side of this is working. So thank you. That's our time for now.
All right, thank
We
you very
will
much.
see you guys. We'll see you out there.
Yeah, great.
We look forward to seeing more, where this research leads.
Yeah, we're really interested. I mean, the next 2 years, we hope to have a certified panel, and so perhaps we'll have a building here made of this material. It would be incredibly poetic, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.